We all know there is serious dysfunction in the world right now. We've got lingering legacy issues like COVID, but we've also got undeclared and declared wars going on around us. Let's deal with the declared ones. We've got shooting wars like in the Ukraine. We've got the culture wars where the alphabet mafia, the woke whingers and the poisonous progressives are attacking almost everything that we cherish. Then we've got the trade and economic wars like the one China has all but declared on Australia. But to me, it's the battle between China and the United States that I want to discuss tonight because it's the most interesting. The quest for economic supremacy took a very interesting turn this week, and I've got to say it went largely unnoticed by most of the media. But before I get to that, I've got to tell you where my position is about the future of the economic world is at. There's a trigger warning though, because I suspect most of you probably won't like it. I believe that China is on track to be the world's largest economy and the actual financial centre of the world within the next decade or so. Now, I also recognise that is contrary to the views of many noted economists. Just this week, the Lowy Institute released a paper suggesting that China will be strong, but it will not dominate. Well, my view is predicated on the fact I think the Western world is actually destroying itself. All the selfish and indulgent garbage we have to put up with from virtue signalling movements, for example, or the low productivity rates we have, the excessive rules and regulations foisted on us by government, the growing welfare state, and quite frankly, just so many crusading losers, it's actually destroying our competitive advantage. In short, the woke left and their adherents are eating us from the inside. And on top of that, well, the USA, the world's largest economy, is printing money like crazy. It's got out of control deficits, and now it's got the highest inflation rate in 40 years. One of the features that has made the US so strong is the fact that its currency is essentially the global reserve currency. See, most international contracts use it as their basis of their accounting and commodities. Well, they're all priced in US dollars, from oil to gold, iron ore, all US dollars. China has long coveted a slice of this international trade for its own yuan, but it's only captured around, I think, 3% versus the US dollar, which is about 35%. However, I think that is set to change, and here's why. Last week, when the US led the charge to freeze Russian access to the US-dominated international banking system, it would have sent shivers through every dollar-owning nation. I mean, think about it. If they can do it to one nation, well, then they can do it to another one. They could even do it to you. And so what we've seen is a transition. Some Russian banks have already been using the alternative Chinese banking clearing system, and I suspect more could be set to join, including now issuing credit cards under the Chinese UnionPay system. And then earlier this week, Saudi Arabia came out and said that they're now considering denominating some of their oil contracts in yuan. Now, that's an unprecedented move, but these are small in the scheme of things, but truly significant developments if you're a studier of the global economy. Now, frankly, I'm not sure why anyone would trust the Chinese state more than the US government, but a Chinese-oriented bloc with massive oil producers, that's Russia, Saudi Arabia, and potentially India and others who sense the decline of the US, well, it could be a game changer. And believe me, capital flows to places where it is treated best. It often has no loyalty aside from wanting to minimise risk of loss. And the Chinese understand this. And they also understand the weakness attached to the US move to isolate Russia from the banking system, and they've moved to swiftly exploit it to their own advantage. I'd say expect more of the same in the future.